Well, nesting with the loons is this kind of offbeat craziness of one man's desire to escape life. I think people go to their jobs, they have relationships, they get married, they have kids, and generally speaking, I think they have these visions of grandeur of how life is gonna turn out. Then one day you wake up to find that things are a lot different than what you thought they were gonna be.
Across the room, Shoemaker's phone rang. He stared suspiciously at the receiver. You want to talk about pressure? Listen to this. He put the phone on speaker.
Hello? Edward? Hello? Don't even think about ignoring me.
Stress, mud thick, caked Shoemaker's face. Didn't I tell you never to call me here? I'm working.
You call sleeping at a desk all day working? You don't know what work is, you stupid louse. Oh, I should have listened to my mother. Oh, I should have married John Bickle, the grocer in Elmira. At least he has a respectable job.
Shoemaker threw his hands up and shouted at his co-workers. She's like a black hole. Every time she opens her mouth, everything gets sucked in.
The other side of the story hinges on this unquenchable thirst people seem to have when it comes to finding romance in their lives. For Jack Snagler, the main character in this story, that idea is central to his dreams. I mean, he carries this picture of this brunette girl that, through luck or destiny, he keeps running into but he can never quite connect with. I liken it to Melville's Great White Whale.
Remember that girl you fell in love with at Eddie's Alamo bar? What was her name? Paradise? I'm not sure where she is. I never forgot that night we met at Eddie's Alamo. Let me ask you something. He stopped walking. Did you ever meet someone and get the feeling that you're supposed to be with them? I mean, what about love at first sight and all that crap? Crow shrugged. It happens. People do it in pet stores all the time. They look at the kisser on some mutt and bang. The next thing you know, they're scooping up dog dirt for the next 10 or 15 years. Tell me the truth. What would you do to be with a woman like that? Anything. I'm going to remember you said that.
One of the more prolific characters in the story is Jack's sidekick, Bob Wetterman. Wetterman is one of those guys who is always, he's kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time and often goes along for the ride, even if the roller coaster is about to jump the track. His major fixation in life is an illegal alien named Rosa Cruz, who he's in love with, but she wants nothing to do with him. And as some of us know, love at times can make you do crazy things.
Wetterman managed to crawl up on the stage. He got to the MC's podium and began shouting terms of endearment like baby and snuggle bunny through the microphone. Rosa, my little petunia, why the hell doesn't she love me? Wetterman, Jack hollered, get down from there!
Most of the scenes in the Loons are molded from places or people I've met. One of my favorite stomping grounds years ago used to be Ocean City, Maryland. You know, the moon hanging over the ocean and the junk shops and the amusement piers lining the boardwalk. And, of course, there were the fortune tellers. I used to get my palm read for 50 cents a finger from some woman that always was sitting there in a black lace dress who called herself Madam X.
Have you ever been in love? Once again, Paradise danced in Jack's thoughts. You're the fortune teller. You tell me. The young woman pulled a handkerchief from her pocket and blew her nose, then grabbed a crystal ball off the top of an empty pizza box. Plunking it on the table, she studied it closely. This is a mystery. I see flamingos. Flamingos? The gypsy pointed to a darkened spot on the ball. Right there. Jack looked closer. I don't see flamingos. That looks like a dried-up watermelon seed. What did you have for lunch? It's flamingos!
I mean, those were really cool days. We'd stay up all night until the sun came up over the ocean. I remember I used to stay in this hotel called the Americana with some of my friends. One night some college kid with long hair and a guitar sat playing a blues tune, and I met this Jersey girl, and we danced barefoot on the beach with the waves crashing against the ocean until about 3 o'clock in the morning. Those were crazy days, but it was all part of that youthful magic, and fortunately nobody got arrested. Well, sorta.
Jack stood up to answer a loud knock at the door. A couple of serious-looking cops with lantern jaws stood at the entranceway. One of them desperately needed a shave. "Does this here belong to you?" The officer stuck a toothpick in his mouth. Dressed in a yellow rain slicker that said, "Property of the Ocean City Police Department," Biddle stood in the doorway in the sweltering heat, lips pouty, ready to burst. "This guy's a wiseacre." The cop gave Biddle a slap in the head. "We don't like wiseacres." "I'd like to shoot him," the other policeman concurred. "Keep your friend here under restraint. Next time, we'll feed him to the sharks."
Readers sometimes ask me about Paradise, the girl in the story. They want to know if she was real, and why there was no El Morocco or Eddie's Alamo like there is in the book. There was a bench, a Christmas lady, and one hell of a love story.
Jack's mouth was a ball of cotton. With just one look, he knew all about the girl. It didn't matter whether she was a waitress at a diner or a ballerina on Broadway. The only thing real to Jack was when he looked in Paradise's bright blue eyes, he saw forever. Pausing for just an instant, Paradise's lips parted, both lost inside the moment. They knew they were getting it right.
The other side of nesting with the Loons isn't quite so romantic or cohesive. You get those people like Ed Shoemaker's wife who can get a little obnoxious at times. Shoemaker is one of those guys who gets up in the morning, he has his coffee, heads off to work in the morning rush hour. I mean, I think most of us kind of lead that life. And still at times he can't help feeling restless or maybe at times unsettled about the direction his life is taking, and he ponders the road he might be on.
Ed Shoemaker was the victim of a neurotic wife who survived on antidepressants and father of a defiant teenage daughter with a fetish for nose rings and thong panties. For him, work wasn't just a paycheck. It was a safe haven from the realities of a sagging and fruitless home life. He dreaded Fridays. It meant spending still another morbid weekend with a morose wife bent on belittling him. Sometimes he fantasized about the day he'd jump on the expressway and make a detour to Philadelphia International, while his wife vegetated on the couch like a mustard plant, and his daughter waited to pounce on him after a hard day at the office. He'd be on a flight to some exotic island, away from the family he loved, to a place they'd never find him.
Most of the characters are modeled after some real people that I might have met in my life. For instance, as a teenager, me and a couple of my friends used to hitchhike over to the Olympian Drive-In, a local hangout for the seniors in high school. One night, some guy with a loud Cabana shirt and lopsided sideburns gave me a lift across town. He was blasting this old Springsteen tune from the radio, and I'm not sure why I even remember that, but what the hell. He was a little off, but, you can't judge a book by its cover, right?
Heard this rumor that Crazy Boris, the East Coast killer, is on the expressway, man. He was, spotted driving this, old dented-up green Pinto. He's got people with him, bro.
Boris the Buzzsaw is on the road? Wow, those passengers are as dead as worms under a lawnmower and don't even know it. The driver flicked off the radio. There's nothing but rubbish on that thing. Police helicopters and mass murderers. That makes me laugh. That really makes me laugh. However, the continual swish of overhead aircrafts and a bright searchlight beaming down on the dimpled hood of the green Pinto dictated otherwise.
What I really think it's about is that moment when, in our lives, all the pieces fit together, no matter how good or bad, and it brings us back to this place where we're always supposed to be, and have that passion and that drive to get it, no matter what it takes. Never give up your dreams.
Perhaps it was the smoke in his eyes, but Jack swore he saw Crow grin. Just remember, Crow shouted over an explosion that blew out the remaining windows. You did say anything, right? What? Paradise! You said you'd do anything to be with her? The place is burning down and you're talking about love connections? You're nuts! Crow slapped Jack in the cheek. The only thing really crazy in the world is being sane. Good luck. You're going to need it.